Hello there, and welcome to a new game commentary of mine. And this game will be dedicated to an absolute beginner's guide to Vayne. This video is dedicated to people who either don't know anything about this champion or are struggling to pick her up. For the starting items, I either go for Doran's Shield or Doran's Blade, depending on how much pain I expect, and since it's Varus and he's outranging me hard, I feel like Doran's Shield will help me way more than Doran's Blade. You'll find the runes I use in the link in the description below, and we're getting slammed here. Or are we? Fleet Footwork is the mastery I use, and I feel like this is one of the best masteries to use if you're not too used to Vayne and want to survive. It basically heals you and gives you a little speed buff afterwards, which is really great for her. And this whole video I will explain Vayne from the viewpoint of a person who doesn't play her well or is not or never played her at all. And this way this video is dedicated to an audience from a lower ELO or people who never played her. But if you're in a higher ELO, you're probably played Vayne once or twice. So I'm helping on the jungle here. Pretty basic procedures, and we're going to the lane. So the thing about Vayne is she is in the early game inferior to like 90% of all other AD carries. That's because her power comes mainly from attack speed and her passive damage bonus on her W, which will give you true damage on every third attack. So what you want to do in the early game is avoid fights as long as possible until you hit level 6, and just maintain creep score, farm as good as you can, and die as less as you can. These are the two most important things for a new Vayne player to recognize. Most basic mistake I see is that you play Vayne like every other AD carry and take fights like crazy. So what I'm doing here is I'm following the attack from Alistar, but I'm immediately retreating because I know that I'm weaker than them. If we would have fought longer into this, we would have both died, because the Braum has Ignite. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm just minding my CS and let Alistar do his stuff. I only fight with him when I have the feeling that we absolutely can win this, or jungler is around, or stuff like that. Vayne is particularly strong once she has some items, and before that, all of her skills don't provide so much damage. You only have an empowered basic auto attack on your Q, and you got a spell which pushes your enemy away and it stuns you if it hits a wall, and that's it. So compared to the Varus, who has a sniping shot and an AoE spell, and his W also detonates his stacks on me, which deals also extra damage, it's pretty easy to see that I'm on the receiving end if I'm going for any fights here. So right now, just farming. And that's the most important thing to do as Vayne in the early game. The problem what I'm having with watching high ELO Vayne players like Gosu or, well, you know, guys, you will notice that they win fights even at the lower levels, but this is because they know their champion way better than most people do around here. And they're having really good supports at their side, which really help them out. So we're just taking here some empty fights. Nothing special here. Because it's quite amusing that I have to say Vayne is very weak in the early game, but she has always this crazy outplay potential due to the stun she can trigger on you. But if you're new to Vayne, avoid all these artsy plays you're seeing on the high ELO players. Don't behave like you're a challenger. Just sit back, try to have more CS than your enemy, and wait until you have some items running. that's basically the most important parts here for playing Vayne. So right now I'm just sitting back here. I'm keeping my distance because Braum could easily kill me if he gets closer to me. So I'm just sitting here, taking last hits and immediately retreating back. Because if I stood closer there, they could have easily killed me with a Braum passive there, but I'm not allowing them to. So if you manage to survive the whole laning phase with Vayne and maintain some normal CS, you don't actually have to out CS your enemy. You will get in the course of the time to a spot where you will be stronger than pretty much every AD carry along the game if you play it right. That's the fun about Vayne. This is because every third shot of hers deals true damage. Stuff which other AD carries don't feature. So we're just trading a little, but I'm telling him to back away. We got their ignite, which is totally okay for me. So this worked out really well. I told my Alistair to fall back because if we would have gone further into that fight, we just would have died there. Probably both. But this way we got their ignite without anything bad happening for us, and that's pretty good. So still just farming. So I don't know if we really want to go for the... What the fuck? So with this teleport we might have engaged harder into that, but I'm playing beginner Vayne here, and beginner Vayne is an absolute pussy. You really have to play like the most scared person on earth, because as a matter of fact, once you start to die too much in the early game as Vayne, your whole game is pretty much screwed up. You won't be seeing any light of this planet anymore if you start dying too much in the early laning phase. Let's say you can only allow yourself one death along the laning, but better avoid that too. And they are level 6 now. But I am too. Yet still even though I'm level 6 now, I actually won't, we won't win even with my level 6. Because Alistair's ult only makes him tankier, while Varus ult and Braum's ult provide a lot of CC and damage. So I'm just falling back here. And for heading back, you pretty much want to head back when your enemy does. Or when your enemy is dead, that is. Oh boys. Still not using my ult because I don't want to waste it here. And look at that, I deal almost no damage at all. This is nasty because I need to have some items before I can do anything here. Alright. We're still not leaving. This is pretty amazing how long this laning phase goes. Normally people head back earlier, but these two boys don't wanna. But now I'm gonna head home, because it's absolutely nonsense to stay longer here. And let's get back and buy our first items. So nowadays I highly recommend to go for a BF sword and a zeal early on. Normally I would buy a boot across that, but I feel like a very good item combination nowadays is going for a BF, going for a zeal, finish up the Infinity Edge, buy some boots in between. This is very, very powerful, and you don't need to buy a Blade of the Ruined King anymore for every game, because Blade of the Ruined King got nerfed a lot across the game, and having a Infinity Edge early on really makes Vayne's damage shine pretty good. So you can still build the Blade of the Ruined King as first item if you want to, but this is ideally picked when you're having something like a tank support as your enemy plus heavy poke, because you will sustain a lot with the Blade of the Ruined King. Only go for Blade of the Ruined King right now if you're feeling like the sustain from your fleet footwork alone doesn't suffice. So now that I have some items, we can actually fight something. And if you want to fight, always wait for your support to start the fight, in the laning phase that is. Now I'm only taking some poke, but the full engage into the fight has to be done from your support. You will die as Vayne if you engage into a fight as the first person to go all in. This is one common mistake I see a lot on lower ELO Vayne players, that they feel like they have to start the fight, but that's actually one of the worst things you can do. So right now only the supports are punching each other. So since Alistar didn't hit a single knock-up on them, I didn't go for the Varus. Instead I'm just poking on the Braum as hard as I can. This way both our supports are getting low, while I'm only focusing further onto the CS, because you really only need CS. So here I did the mistake. I wanted to show you what happens if you start the fight as Vayne. I immediately got busted. So I stunned the Varus here. But we're not winning this. We're actually not winning this. Could have healed, but I didn't feel like we would have won this. But I'm still alive, and this is actually the most important part about that. Ugh. Oh, fuck that. Would have totally killed this dude if the Gragas didn't go into there. But it looks like we're actually still fighting here. Or no. Renekton goes dying for nothing, so I didn't follow Renekton under this turret because I didn't feel like there was anything to achieve. I mean, he tanked the turret for me, but this is beginner Vayne. She's very cautious. She doesn't take fights which she feels like are a bad idea. So I'm gonna head home. Varus was shopping, and I don't want to compete with that without shopping myself. So I didn't go for boots because my passive here gives me 30 movement speed moving towards enemies. So this way you can pretty much skip the part with buying boots for your first back, because you will cover the distance to your enemy anyways. This movement speed bonus even gets tripled once you're in ult, which is really good. So I didn't cover up too much mechanic parts of playing Vayne in this video, and I won't, because this is an absolute beginner's video. I won't go for mechanics here. I'm just going for basic behaviors, items, and stuff like that. Mechanics will be covered in another video if you like this one. So, we're pushed into our turret. That hurts. So finally he got a good attack in. But we're still losing. We're almost blocking too much. And we shouldn't go for a 2v2 here. I just wanted to show you what can happen if you just go in and go ham. Stuff like that will happen, and that's not good for you, so I'm not going to do this again. So basically what you want to do to avoid situations like these is you only attack when you're having a 3v2 situation. You only go for a complete fight if it's really your mid coming towards your lane or the jungle coming for a gank. These are the only situations where you want to be all-inning them while their ultimates are up. But yeah, we're gonna lose this turn. If we weren't playing against Varus, we actually would have won, but Varus has super hard all-in capabilities very early on. Not many AD carries can beat that. You can only win that if you're having an A damage support. But yeah. So this is a good situation where we can help a lot. I don't have ultimate yet. But I don't think I'm going to use it. Alright. I'm only grabbing assists here, but that's okay. So this is a very good situation where you can just follow the stuff your team does. And I'm going to actually retreat here. We're standing between two turrets, and that's never good. So I'm just retreating. Alright, there we go. So we shouldn't stay here any longer. Or should we? Alright. Still have Summoner heal. I attacked him once to trigger the fleet footwork, which will increase my movement speed. Which helps me running away. So now I have Infinity Edge. This is the first serious power spike on this champion. Because this enhances every crit from yours by 50%, and believe me, you will notice it. So at this point, Varus is at the pinnacle of his power. With Ginzu's Rage Blade, he's insanely strong, and I better respect that. So at this point of the game, you basically want to follow your team. If everything went well, you can just follow your team and wait until somebody engages on something, and when that's done, you just whack on them until they attack you, and then you run away. That's basically the idea here. And while nothing is happening wherever you are, you want to grab your creep score. Even if you're getting pinged away, I don't care about that. He has more CS than his enemies, so it's really okay to take some. So I'm not fighting here too hard because I don't see what the enemy has. So let's kill the Braum first. And the other dude too. Even got the Alistar out. Ain't that nice. So, for your ultimate, you always want to use it when you feel like you're sure that you want to fight until someone dies. Only ult then. Or, the other option when to use your ultimate as Vayne is when you're pressured hard and need to run away, because the stealth you will get while tumbling is very, very useful. So right here I'm just minding my creep score. And let's help. No, we don't need to help him. So there's a fight going on mid lane, but I actually want to push. Because I have a lot of gold on in my pocket, and I don't want to fight right now actually. Because I have no ultimate, it's not as interesting to go for a team fight here. Fighting without your ultimate is always pretty dangerous in the mid game, and we are actually right now in the mid game. So for my second item, I almost every time pick Static Shift, because it increases your initial attack by so much damage. That's really awesome. So our team is pressuring mid lane pretty hard, so let's head there. And like I said, when you have ultimate, you might as well join your team. So let's head there and fight some. There we go. And while the rest of my team is getting most of the kills, I'm totally okay with that. And you should be too. Because assists help an ADC as well. You don't need all the kills to get ahead. I mean, it's ideal if you get all the kills. It's way more gold this way, for sure. But since you're farming like crazy as an AD carry, you will eventually get to your power if you're only getting assists. As long as you're staying alive, everything's pretty nice. So while I'm here, I might as well do some enemy jungle. Alright, so they're still chasing my teammates, and I feel like we're going in there. We're 3 persons, there are only 2. There we go. Like I said, I wait for the other people to engage on it, and then I go into the fight. It's really, really important that you don't mix this sequence up. But this is generally true for pretty much every AD carry, but you will suffer a lot in Vayne if you're not already fat as fuck when you screw it up. So I don't think Alistar is getting out there alive. So for the second item, I love to pick up Rapid Fire Cannon. It's, well, I don't want to say it's mandatory, but since Vayne has a particularly low attack range, it's a very good item, and it finishes up the item core. And this is the game. And I'm pretty okay with that, because this video should only cover up the absolute basics about this champion. There's a lot of stuff to learn and a lot of stuff to master about this champion, and to play Vayne correctly, you will need a lot of practice, because there's so much stuff you can do to fuck yourself up on Vayne. It's pretty insane, actually, because one tumble into the wrong direction and you're pretty toast. And so, yeah, here we go. Those were the absolute basics. Farm, stay alive, play like a pussy, and only go for 3v2 in the laning phase if you're not knowing what you're doing with Vayne. And if you practice this a little, you will find your boundaries. You will notice where you can push harder than the last time. But I feel like it's very, very good if you want to pick up this champion to play way too careful. Stay alive, grab up your gold, and then try to do shit. Basically, once you have 2 items finished on Vayne, you're god in the mid game. If you get, the quicker you get there, the more dominating your presence gets. If you get too many kills early on and you finish these 2 items too quickly, you can pretty much kill everything with 3 shots. If you're normally scaling into the game like I did here, it's gonna take a bit longer until you get there, and your power will not be as high at that point. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this one, I would really love to go for more detailed videos on this champion with some mechanics and stuff like that. And see you guys soon. Bye bye.